So I have a college student son who's a junior in college, and I actually initially sent a different topic title, and it was missed, I think, in the email. And they got another email, what's the title of your talk? And my son was sitting next to me, he goes, you gotta make it something where they're gonna wanna come and hear it. So we came up with the title of the talk, Hey College Students, You Don't Know Shit. But you'll see why it's apropos. So I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to any student group at any time. And I would say that one of the things that I think is the best privilege that we have as faculty at a university is the opportunity to interact with the students one-on-one and be the resource for you guys. So I would extend that olive branch to anyone in any way that we can help on the medical end, in any way to be mentors, to be a sounding board, in any way that we can be an extension of your community here at Case. So we're really proud to be able to work with the students, and it's really a privilege. So when I was asked to speak today, I wasn't really sure what to talk about, and I think you offered me, you said, well, talk about whatever you want. You can talk about fly fishing. The trouble is I don't fly fish. And so I was thinking about it, and recently I was actually asked to speak to a group of students, a large group of students, and I said, you know, I'm going to take that message and I'm going to turn it into something that I think would be worthwhile for you. So I'm going to give you some retrospective advice. And it's annoying, I know I'm a parent of college student and they hate hearing advice, but I'm going to give you 2 pieces of advice, and I'm going to give you 1 comment. Okay, so bear with me, and we can talk about it afterwards if you want. Advice number 1. My advice is to be spectacular. When you look back at your college years and think about it, what are you going to remember? Are you going to remember the grade that you got in calculus? Maybe. Are you going to remember the paper that you worked so hard on in English Lit? Hopefully. Are you going to remember that tough professor in engineering? Probably not. Probably none of that. However, you will remember the relationships and how people treated you. And I can tell you, having looked back at college, that's what you remember. So think about this. Have you ever told someone, for no reason at all, have you ever gone up to a professor and just thanked them for being a good teacher? Think about it. Have you ever walked up to someone randomly and thanked them for being a good friend? What if you congratulated someone for their achievements or told someone that they look nice just because you think that they do? Imagine walking up to someone and saying, hey, I know we don't know each other very well, but I've seen how you treat people and I respect you for that. What if you anonymously sent some toys or books to a family who can't afford Christmas presents? What if you were sitting at a restaurant and gave that cranky waitress a really good tip because you're sitting having a meal and she's serving you? Now, I know that these things sound cliche and my kids tell me they are cheesy, but I think that these are things that people remember. These are the impacts where you can impact people's lives. I would rather surround myself with people like this all day long over high achievers. It is very easy to criticize and judge people, but it's harder to give out a compliment, to show appreciation, or go out of your way to let someone know that you've noticed them. Even if you're doing it for no reason at all, just to make someone feel good. I like people like this, and I think that these people are what I call spectacular. I would tell you to lead with kindness and compassion, do something unexpected, surprise people. Be the type of person who is spectacular because it's who you want to be, not because you expect that type of treatment in return. How do you want to be remembered? And I would say you should be spectacular. So that's advice number 1, be spectacular. Advice number 2, be passionate. So I was almost exactly your guys' ages. Most of you are undergrads here? Yes? Okay. I was a sophomore in college when I went to Obomashaw, Nigeria, the summer between my sophomore and junior year. I lived on a small medical compound in a village with phenomenal individuals, and most were Baptist missionaries or Nigerian. One night, again, I was a college student. I had no medical training. I was sitting with my friend Babatola Durojai, a Nigerian doctor, and I was sitting with him in the small closet they called an emergency room, and they brought a woman into this little emergency room because she fell off the back of a pickup truck. She wasn't breathing, and she had no pulse. Now again, I was a college student, and I didn't know very much. I didn't know how to do CPR. I took a CPR class. And my friends Babatola Durojai said, let's start CPR. And after a few minutes, we got her pulse back. But we couldn't get her to breathe on her own. We had a breathing tube. And again, I didn't know any medical stuff, but we had a breathing tube to put in her trachea to help her protect her airway. And we had what's called an ambu bag that can squeeze and push air into her lungs through that breathing tube. So we were able to breathe for her. Luckily, on this compound, we had what's called a ventilator, an electrical piece of equipment where we can attach it to that tube and we'll keep her breathing until she can able to breathe on her own. The trouble was we didn't have the in-between tube to connect the ventilator to the breathing tube in her mouth. You needed an extra piece of tubing, and we didn't have that tubing. Now, someone was coming in 3 weeks and could bring it, but we didn't have that tubing. So what we had to do is sit there and squeeze that bag by hand to keep this lady breathing. And we did this for minutes and for hours. And it sounds like not a big deal, but I can tell you, literally our hands were going into tetany. We couldn't squeeze our hands. There was 2 of us, and we would trade off. And we would rubbing our hands because after so many hours, we were trying to use 2 hands. We couldn't do it. And at one point, one of the doctors said, we need to stop. Now, I was squeezing the bag at that time. And I just couldn't stop. Because I knew that if I had stopped, this woman would die. And it was a lot to ask for a college student to make that decision to let go. So my friend Babs came behind me and gave me a bear hug and grabbed me and pulled me away. A few minutes later, they pronounced this woman dead. I felt like I was in a bad dream. I walked outside and I cried. Now, I was what I thought would be a typical college student, didn't really cry about much, and I didn't know where it came from. I just cried. And as I was doing that, they were telling the family that she was dead, and you heard the wailing of the family at her loss. I had never seen anything like this before. This woman, in my mind, died that night because we didn't have a piece of tubing. This didn't make sense to me. Over the following weeks, I thought a lot about that night. It bothered me. It bothered me because I knew, I had worked in hospitals during my vacations and during my summers, that this type of tubing is thrown away every day in the United States unused because of overproduction or whatever reason. When I returned to the United States, I was inspired to help make sense of what had seemed like a preventable death. And I started a nonprofit called MedWish. As you heard, it is a nonprofit organization that saves unused medical supplies that are thrown away in the United States, and we make them available to hospitals and clinics in need around the world. Now, I'll be honest with you. I did not really know what a nonprofit meant. I had no idea what to do. I had no understanding of the liabilities. I had no understanding of the challenges that lay ahead. But I did have all of the ingredients that are needed to start something, to make a difference. I was young, I was idealistic, I was naive, and I had passion. Had I listened to everyone who had told me that this was a crazy idea, that this was not realistic, that this was something that was fraught with challenges, had I listened to all these people, I would never have done it. So I started MedWish over 24 years ago, and I still have yet to read a book on how to start or run a nonprofit. I still don't know exactly what I'm doing, but we have sent millions of pounds of medical supplies to over 110 countries around the world. Within MedWish, we have created an amazing skill-building program for local individuals with autism and other special needs to help train them with simple skills so that they can help get jobs locally within the workforce within our own community. We've helped establish pediatric heart centers in Egypt, in Honduras, and remote Argentina, where they are performing life-saving heart surgery on kids with all supplies from MedWish. We send 40-foot containers filled with medical supplies almost weekly to impoverished clinics and hospitals around the world. We fill duffel bags for individuals traveling to areas of need every day. There are probably many, many things that we are doing wrong. There are probably many things that we could be doing better. But we're doing something. We're not waiting to figure out how to do it perfectly. We're doing the best that we can. We're improving every day, and we are saving lives along the way. Now, I tell you this because I want to encourage you guys to be passionate. Don't wait for that perfect moment. Do something to make a difference. Don't wait for the perfect time. If you see a need and you're passionate to make a difference, just do it. Ask for help and advice and make corrections along the way, but just start. There's no perfect time. Don't be afraid to follow your passion. Whatever it is, don't be afraid to fail. You will fail. Just don't quit. Now let me be crystal clear for your parents' sake. I am not saying to follow your passion irresponsibly. I'm not saying to drop out of college, sell all your possessions, and follow the migration of the monarch butterflies. But follow your passion and make a difference. You will never, ever regret it. Life is too short to not leave your mark and not make a difference. Don't wait. I am so inspired by people with passion. I respect that they are passionate about something and that they are taking action to make a difference. Whether it is running a business, a nonprofit, or a hobby, if you have intelligence but no passion, to me you're just a boring smart person. So be passionate. Comment number 3. You guys right now don't know shit. Okay? Yet. Now you are going to be spending the next 1 to 4 years studying and developing a foundation to build upon. In a couple of years, very few of you will probably remember what the antiderivative is or what indefinite integrals are. You will not likely remember the Shakespeare sonnets that you study. But you are learning how to learn. You are being given a foundation of knowledge that you can build upon. But let's face it, right now, most of you are pretty useless to us. You're a great group, smart and entertaining, but right now, you're pretty useless to us. However, over the next 5 to 10 years, you guys are going to develop skills and prepare for careers and develop expertise in various areas. In this next phase of your lives, you will become individuals that my generation will need, that my generation will rely upon and depend upon. In this next chapter of your life, you will learn skills, you will acquire knowledge that will allow you to own small businesses, to run large corporations, create startups, become lawyers, authors, teachers, doctors, accountants, professors, designers, entertainers, and hopefully some honest and respectful politicians. Your parents, your professors, and I will become your clients and your customers. We will become your patients and your constituents. We will be the civilians those of you who join the military will protect. We will turn to you as experts for advice and guidance and care. We will heed your advice on what to do with our savings, what the newest fashions are, how to treat our diseases. We will eat in your restaurants. You will help us with our legal issues. with our taxes and our back pain. You will explain to us what artificial intelligence is. You will show us the newest phones and cars and computers that you have designed and created. We are counting on it. We are counting on each of you. So go off to graduate school, get a job, do a startup, or join the military. Go have some fun and follow your passion, but also develop skills and learn, mature, take in knowledge that will make you valuable, differentiate yourself. Don't be afraid to work really hard and pay your dues early on. Acquire skills that are so unique and desirable that you can always have a job that you want, not a job that you need. Your community is here to support you during your journey. We also know that we will need you. So go become great. Become the best. You have some time, but it will certainly go faster than you think. I guarantee it. We are counting on you. But remember this, right now, you guys don't know shit. Thank you very much.